What's good, brother?
What's going on?
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm not even gonna say the name. Waste of time. People know why they're here. How you been, man? It's been a minute.
I'm good. I started that job, you know about it. Doing lab work.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, it's not too bad. We're just busy with this Omicron stuff, but starting to slow down a little bit. I'm off work early to time to do this podcast, so.
Hell yeah. So tell me, I've always wondered. I know, what is it? Vixen?
Vicor.
Yeah. Vicor. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is your technical title and what do you do?
All right. So I am the Rejections Team lead.
Okay.
So essentially, there's two labs, and one of the labs is like specimen processing, essentially. So people send in all of these samples, urine, nasal swabs, vaginal swabs, stuff like that. And we sort them out and check all the paperwork, make sure they have, insurance, date of birth, everything matches the sample, and then pass them on to the other lab that does all the tests.
Okay.
I am in there. I'm the rejections team lead. So essentially every time a sample gets rejected, the sample tube has a different name than the paperwork, or the sample's cracked, the tube's cracked, it's contaminated, like stuff like that.
Okay.
Then I would then reject it, and depending on how, like, what's missing, we can either run it and hold the results until they give us the information, or just not run it in general.
Okay.
And contact the facility and tell them to recollect it.
So how much of your day is spent looking at the data of whatever it is that like you're testing versus like just like the actual
most of my day is like sorting and like filling out forms and printing them out, stickering each tube properly to go with each paperwork. That's pretty much what I do all day, back and forth from the lab, giving them samples.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, and I don't really see too much of the results side of it, because I'm not really reporting the results.
Mm-hmm.
But when I talk to the people in the lab, like, they say stuff like, every 100 samples we get, like 2 or 3 will be positive for the COVID swabs.
Okay. That sounds...
So we have a big like testing boom right now. Not necessarily like we're not crazy, filled with COVID, but it's like everybody wants to know if they have it.
Yeah.
So we're pretty high volume.
I figured like this late in the game, people would know if they have it or not.
You never know. You never know.
I was in Miami and I had to get tested to see Jordan Peterson, and you'll find this funny. So those Binance whatever, like home test kits. Yeah, those. I think those are legit. But what I learned is that if you do like the little tracking thing on the app, like it like uploads it, whatever, like to certify if you're negative or positive, you can just click whatever you want. So I'm like, how many people are just clicking? Really? Yeah. No matter what you test on, you can just be like negative.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I didn't know that. What? Is it through the Clear? What company is that through? Is it through Binance?
I have the app on my phone, actually.
I know when I went to see Joe Rogan and
Navica. This is the app.
I didn't do that.
So you pull it up, you sign in, and then I'll show you mine just for the shits and gigs. But yeah, regardless of if you test negative. Self-recorded
result.
I know, self-recorded, but like this.
So I guess it's kind of like you're liable if you were to lie.
Yeah, but like they still this is still like you can get into events with this. I'm like, it's kind of.
I know, that's pretty crazy.
I don't know how I feel about that.
When I went to the Joe Rogan, Dave Chappelle thing in Nashville, they used Clear, like the technology they use at airports, and they didn't really like check it. Like, it was like they made a huge fuss about it in the emails and everything, and the tickets going into it, and saying, make sure you have, your Clear app ready and blah 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 when you get to the front, and then you get up there and like they just check your ticket. And
I mean, I get it, but like at the same time, it's like, why make it like a thing if you're not gonna follow up with it? I don't know. It's weird.
The other interesting thing about those Binance tests is that it's helpful because they're rapid. But if you actually look at the data, and I don't have all the numbers in front of me right now, but if I'm not mistaken, the last time I read it, which was a few months ago, they were only doing about 60% accuracy. So you could get a false positive like nothing.
We're 2 years into this and we only get 60% out of the rapid.
Well, that's just with the rapid tests. The rapid tests are tough because it's like basically they're testing for the presence of the DNA. Okay. So say, for example, I don't know. These numbers aren't even close to what it really is. But imagine there was like 100 virus organisms in your saliva that it tests. It'll like check. Yep, there is that virus. But what we don't know is if any of those are even alive, or if they.
Oh, it's just if it's there.
If you have the presence of the DNA, essentially.
Okay.
So like you could have already gone through it a little bit, and like
it's still there.
Yeah, and it could also just be doing negative results. So.
That's so weird, man.
The cool thing is we do PCR tests and they're 97% accurate.
Okay. So what is the turnaround on PCR? 2 to 3 days?
24 hours. Well, it depends on where you're going through.
Yeah. Is that what you get at like CVS and all that shit?
Yeah, CVS. Yeah, like when you go and like get swabbed and you put it in the back of your nose and stuff like that. That's a PCR test, and those are like the most accurate. They're between like 91 and 99% usually.
Okay.
But yeah, so they have a lot of different types of tests nowadays. But those are the most common, and depending on who's doing it, like the federally and the state funded ones, those can be like 3 days to a week sometimes turnaround. Anything after a week is kind of scary because you don't actually know like if they're testing it a week later or if they tested it and they're still getting the results out, so you don't know like exactly. I don't know, that's sketchy. But I work for a private organization and they guarantee stuff like that. So
okay, so let me think here. How long have you been working with them?
Let's see, about 4.5, 5 months now.
Okay. Are you sick of it yet?
I'm not.
The job, but I mean COVID, like dealing with it all the time.
It's not that bad in my aspect because, I'm not really worried too much about regulations and everything. I'm not getting, that kind of stuff. But I am. It's just like very repetitive.
Yeah.
Which isn't that big of a deal because, when you're in the lab, you can, just put in your headphones and chomp away at the data and everything. So I get to listen to podcasts all day and listen to audiobooks. And I'm at the point now where it doesn't really even feel like work. Like I'm kind of just going through the motions.
Yeah.
But not in like a, slack off way. Like it's just like it kind of comes as like second nature to me. Whereas I can be like multitasking, listening to something and be fully engaged in what I'm listening to, but just be going through things like 100% fine.
Interesting. So now, is this is the field that you would potentially want to go to? Yeah, epidemiology. Is this like in that field, or is it something kind of separate?
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm all over the place right now. I've been saying for a long time I'm gonna go into epidemiology, and this is the field I want to do. Lately, I've been not as passionate about it, just because in graduate school it's just a lot of work, and it's not the fact that it's like too overwhelming or anything, but it's just the stuff that I'm learning right now in school is just like not really, it doesn't really pique my interest as much as epidemiology does. And there's a lot of little there's a lot of little classes that you need to take to get there.
That's always fun.
It's a lot of like really advanced coding that I didn't even know I was gonna have to do, and I've had no experience in coding in my entire life. So I've kind of been losing that passion for it, and when I got this job, I was like, oh, this will be a step in the door to get towards, further into epidemiology. I'm still taking classes at the moment. I'm not positive this is like the future I want. Yeah. Leaning towards like, at least on the side, doing like real estate investments and that kind of stuff, making more money on the side. But yeah, the door's not shut or anything.
Yeah, it's just right now it's like a big road bump.
Yeah, and there's a lot of connections I can make through my company, and a lot of experience I'm getting, learning a lot. So that's good too.
So, what originally made you want to go into epidemiology? Like, what sparked your interest?
So my whole life, I pretty much said I'm going to go into the healthcare field. My mom growing up was a career nurse.
So do you think it was because of your mom, like subconsciously?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. And also, maybe it was just the fact that like I've always kind of just been, I don't know, maybe it was just me making this up, but I've always kind of just seen like, becoming a doctor is like the top of the food chain for me. It was like you were the most successful and you are doing the most for society. Like that was like, if you want to really contribute, that's where to be. And so I've always kind of said I'm going to go into healthcare someday. But I kind of realized one day, like, I've shadowed doctors, and every doctor I shadowed is just like, why do you want to do like, why? Like, this is not what you want to do. I'm telling you, like, I hate this. Like, they're like, I'm working 78 hours a week. Jesus. I'm on call 24/7. I'm $300,000 in debt. You know, like
That's got to be the
he's
biggest
like,
turn off.
there's no vacations. Like, he's like,
That too.
you don't have a life anymore. And he's like, I understand. Like, if you want to do something good, like, definitely do it then.
Yeah.
But he's like, if you're not 100% dedicated to it, and then I'm like, you know what?
You're like 80,
I like vacations.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate school as it is. So I'm like, any institutionalized academics, I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I got through school. It wasn't that school was hard. I'm just like, fuck this. Like, I don't want to sit at a desk 3 hours a night after being in lectures for 4 hours a day, and 80% of this is not going to be applicable to me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't imagine that plus 20 to 30% more.
Yeah. And
like, no.
The
more
good,
rigor, more time. I'm like, no, I'm good.
Right.
No pay.
Yeah, it gets
like,
harder.
I couldn't do it.
It gets harder. It gets more expensive. And it's just so time consuming. No sleep. You know, you're going crazy mentally, like all that stuff. And you have to deal with, like, you know, once you get into med school, you do your rounds and you start, you know, working in the emergency room. You got to start dealing with, you know, getting close to patients, seeing them pass away, like dealing with that emotional connection, stuff like that. So when I discovered epidemiology, it was cool because it was like
a bridge.
Yeah, because it was like you can still do healthcare, you can still treat people and help people, but rather than doing it on a patient-to-patient level and building this, you know, emotional connection and being on call 24/7, you know, you can still have vacations and you can treat, you know, 1 million people at the same time, rather than just worrying about, you know, one at a time. So epidemiology is really cool in that aspect, but it's just the fact that in grad school right now, I'm not learning about epidemiology specifically. Like, I want to learn about the different viruses, how they spread, how I can stop them from spreading, you know, like prevent COVID-19 from ever starting, you know, stuff like that. And instead I'm doing like statistics and, like, you know, really advanced, and I have to know statistics obviously, but it's like the coding is like what really is getting me, because it's like, oh, you understand this language, oh, okay, I'm glad that you finally have a small grasp on this, because tomorrow we're doing an entirely different language.
I'm good on
and it's
that,
like,
man.
oh my god.
So when COVID popped, were you like, oh shit, here we go? Like, were you like, I can't wait to see what happens because of your field? You're like, I want to see how this virus develops and how the world reacts, or were you like, we're fucked? Like, what was your initial reaction? I
was kind of all over the place because so when it first started, I was still in my undergraduate at the College of Charleston, and
it feels like forever.
I know. That was so. It first started February, March, that area, and I had kind of seen, you know, obviously everyone had been seeing stuff coming out of China, blah blah.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know too much about it, but the more I read into it, it was like, oh. Yikes. And on top of that, like, not to get too controversial, but, you know, anything that China's reporting, let's be honest, like,
dodgy.
How much are they reporting?
Right.
So if they're reporting 1 million, is that accurate, or is it, you know, 10 million, you know?
Right.
So that's when I started realizing, like, oh, this is spreading. And I wasn't too confident in the administration at the time to protect us. So it was just kind of like, here we go, you know, buckle up. And then, you know, controversy started coming out. Trump started saying, you know, the Kung flu, stuff like that. I'm like, bro, come on.
All right. In his there's not many things you can defend him on, but that line I think is one of the funniest. Dude, the Kung flu is one of the funniest things of all time.
Yeah, it's just so fun. But anyways. He said all kinds of controversial stuff, obviously, but then that's when it started getting polarized. Is the thing that's the most frustrating part for me, is that
science had not been polarized like that before.
Yeah, because, you know, in the past, you know, people listen to scientists. It's always been like, oh, scientists say this. And up until that point, it's like, oh, this scientist has been saying this, then we should probably follow that.
Right.
And then once we got to there, it was like,
or at least it's been like an open conversation.
Yeah.
And now it's just like,
do we believe scientists?
It's either it's like science is the be all end all. Even though it's like science is supposed to constantly change, and people are like, science is not supposed to change. It's like, no, it is. It's supposed to be like an ongoing fluid conversation.
Right.
It's either science is law or science is fake. I'm like, I'm going to have a hemorrhage. Like, I can't do it. This is ugh.
And it's always been like, scientists are pretty much always agreed on everything, and that's not true at all. But
the dissent hasn't been as stark.
Yeah, and like, there's a lot more voice now for the other percents, you know. And, you know, I've talked about this in private, obviously, but like, 98% of scientists like all agree about certain things about COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then lately, like the voices, the 2% that say the exact opposite are getting very, very large, you know, listenings. And it's not that that's like bad or anything. Everyone should have their voice. It's
Right.
just the fact that, you know, we need to hear, like, I don't know. It's just that the federal government and the CDC and all that stuff, like, I don't believe the government should be involved in, you know, medical advice.
Right.
I agree that yes, they should be funding it.
Right.
And they should be, you know, responsible for it, but they should be responsible for paying someone else to do it, paying the CDC to do
paying
it,
for access to stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Boosting. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just
not like meeting a quota of this is how many vaccines we're doing and this is the new rules and like we know what's best for you, like because scientists know what's best for us.
Right.
And you know, there's debate among scientists, but let that be to the scientists.
Yeah, it's for me, and I think for a lot of people, the common American, it's just like the finality of every single thing we hear every 6 weeks is like what's so infuriating. For at least like it's not that I'm very well educated on the subject. I read enough to know what's going on, I think. And it's just frustrating that there is a divide and there's no clear voice, and you're constantly having this argue of like who's telling the truth. I'm like, I shouldn't have to question the CDC or the WHO or the WHO or Fauci. I'm like, I don't want to have to question these, and we're at the point as a society, I think, where you do have to, just because of money and power and corruption and all that bullshit.
Talks.
It's just sad.
I know.
Money does talk.
It's too bad, but you know,
I just know in my gut this will probably be over like the next year and a half. I don't think it'll be nearly as politicized. I think because we're America, and by the time we have another election cycle, it'll be swept under the rug. Like no matter what's going on, like it'll just be another blip in history that we'll have to fucking get over, and it's gonna be like the Iraq War.
Maybe, or we'll see it again for a long time. I mean,
I think so. I think it'll be like the common cold or the flu. Like we're just gonna have it. Like
it's just so bizarre because it's like I totally agree. Like we're gonna, I personally think we're gonna have to live with this. You know, and
I thought that at the beginning.
I know, but you know, we still. The thing is, like from a science perspective, people are dying. You know.
Yeah, it's
fast.
our health
substantially. Like it. You know,
healthcare is overwhelmed.
This started only a year and a half ago.
That's crazy to think about. It's been the longest 18 months.
Is it 2 years?
Almost March.
Oh, I guess a little over 2 years ago.
Funny. I was at Okeechobee March, like the first weekend of March, and we were joking. We're like, we're all gonna catch corona, like you know, because we're all sharing
Everyone's
bathrooms with like 50,000 people.
Yeah.
And then I went on spring break like 2 weeks later, and the water got shut off in fucking Panama City Beach. We're like, oh shit.
Yeah. No, it's no joke. Like, you know, it's only been 2 years, and over 900,000 Americans have died. Reported. So probably more close past 1 million.
The skeptic in me is like, is it real reported?
Yeah,
in the back of my mind.
Yeah, that could also be lower. It could also be higher.
But at that point, like those reported numbers, I'm like, that's the average. We don't know the high or the low. I'm just
Right.
like, it's probably an average.
Right. There's a tail to that.
Yeah.
But that being said, like, you know, you're not seeing 1 million people a year die of the common cold. So we can't call it the common cold, you know?
Yeah.
And I agree that, you know, this is something we're going to have to live with, and I'm kind of over the narrative that we need to stop the spread and we need to.
You can't contain a virus like this. I don't think. I think we learned that.
We're past that. You know, I think we had the opportunity to, and we failed at that. And this is so I don't know. It's so easy to spread that it's like, even if we tried our absolute 100% best, it was gonna have a hard time.
I think for me it was after that first like 6 week period of slow the spread. Like it was like end of May, after I got COVID, end of May, early June, and like data started to come up about like what lockdowns were doing in like September of that year, and it's like having an adverse effect on like mental health and, you know, drug abuse and all that sort of stuff. I was like, and the economy obviously, but I was like, maybe we don't do this and just kind of have to protect the vulnerable kind of approach. That's kind of when like September of 2020 is when I really started to get like skeptic. I'm like, what's really going on here?
Yeah, I'm just frustrated with the fact that, you know, I mean, obviously,
the camera, you can keep talking.
You're good. I'm just upset with the fact that I can wait. Well, I was just gonna say I'm upset with the fact that they, you know, doctors will be saying stuff like, I don't know. Nowadays, they can't really treat the way they want to treat people. And there's a lot of things that are getting disqualified by the FDA and saying, you can't use monoclonal antibodies, which we know are very.
We talked about that. It's fucking it hurts me in the inside that the government is actively making it harder for people to treat something that is preventable. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the desire?
I totally understand the desire to, protect the spread in general and promote the vaccine. There's a lot of data showing the vaccine is safe and effective and more protective than, a previous infection.
Yeah, I mean, at least here, like obviously in Israel and the UK and Australia, it's very different. But I think that's also because we have a different population.
And different strains.
Yeah, different strains. I just think here we have
50% obese.
Right, 50% obese. We have, I don't know if this is accurate, but I think we have a higher elderly population, at least in like areas of like Florida.
Makes
where
sense.
like, like there's more condensed elderly, so it's like it's gonna hit harder in those kind of areas. But I'm just, I'm just so sick of it, man. Like I think about it for like.
Yeah, we're all sick of it, but I mean.
I know. I'm sick of the negative conversations around it. I'm so tired of like anyone who's willing to discuss it either has to fall into one camp or the other. I'm like, no, it's supposed to be an open discussion. As we're seeing with like Rogan and all that, it's like controversy. I'm like, it's not supposed to be controversial to talk about it. I'm like, it should be talked about. That's how you kind of work through, skepticism and like, I don't know. It's just I don't know how you work in that field every day because I would be exhausted.
Yeah,
I just couldn't do it. I don't know how you're doing it.
It's not too bad on my side because I'm not really dealing with all that.
Yeah, you don't have like patience, but
yeah. But
still,
I know, but we just gotta. I don't know. We gotta get through it. We gotta be able to treat people, and we gotta come to the point that we're not negatively stigmatizing people who aren't vaccinated because we're at that point now where it's like I understand like. We're way past the point of if you have a vaccine at this point, you're vaccinated and you're going to continue to get vaccinated. If you don't have a vaccine at this point, that's your choice. You know what I mean?
I was going to get it at one point and then I forget why I didn't. I think it was like the myocarditis or the blood clot issue. It wasn't the blood clot because I wasn't going to get Johnson & Johnson. It was when I found out that Pfizer had locked up the ability to disclose data for 50 years. And then I was like, let's do a little research on Pfizer. I was like, oh, the former FDA head is now on Pfizer's board. And then they not only can they there's those two things. It's like they had the biggest lawsuit in history for like a medical malpractice. I'm like, I don't know about this.
They have a lot more.
I'm like, I don't
know
if I want to put this in my body.
They have more lawsuits than any company, any pharmaceutical company.
Johnson & Johnson ain't great either. Like they have some
I forget who it was or what her name was, but there was a lady, and I want to say she was like. So what was she? I forget what her position was. She was either like the director of the CDC or like the Surgeon General or something like that. Like
I know who you're talking about. I feel like
4 or 5 years ago, who basically put a ton of money into. I want to say it was like tobacco investments.
Of course.
And then like even though she was like they were like running a campaign about
of course
stopping smoking blah blah blah, and like she reduced some rules, and then all of a sudden she was like a huge stockholder in big pharma and stuff like that. Yeah, I
hate it.
So stuff like that, I know, but it's about money. Money talks.
Money does talk. Well, so you work and you said you listen to a lot of podcasts. Like, what are you distracting yourself with when you get out of work to like forget about the doom and gloom that we've had for like the last 2 years? Like, what is your free time like?
Make dinner, see my lovely girlfriend, and hang out with my new dog.
How's dog life been, man?
That's nice. Well, sometimes. I got a new dog. His name's Brody. He's a cute little.
Hell yeah.
He's a Shiba Inu. He looks like a little fox, and he's the man. But he had a weekend up with his extended family, with my girlfriend's family, and they have a couple dogs who taught him some bad behaviors, unfortunately.
Such as?
He whines. He scratches at stuff now. He doesn't necessarily do everything we say. Before he went up there to visit, he would, come to his name every time I asked. He would sit every time I asked. He did everything we asked. But after that weekend, he kind of decides when he wants to come and when he wants to sit. So we got some work to do.
I think, I could be wrong though. I'm pretty sure Shiba Inus though are like one of those breeds where it's like they're just like, they kind of have a mind. Of course they have a mind of their own, but they're like, if you ask them to do something or have like a command, they'll just be like, meh, like I'm not gonna do it.
No, they're very independent dogs. And all dogs are independent, but Shiba Inu specifically, you got to work a little extra hard.
Yeah.
But they're not like untrainable. And like if you look at videos online, you go on YouTube or something, you can watch and the Shiba Inus have like they're some of the smartest dogs out there too. They're
Really?
so smart.
I can see that for sure.
It's really just about the fact that they're so dominant and they're really good hunters and they're bred to be hunting dogs.
Really?
Yeah, they're Japanese.
Yeah.
So they hunt like birds and rabbits and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But because they're so dominant, like they always want to be alpha. Always.
Makes sense.
Every day I pick up my dog and I like put him on his back and I'm like, I'm alpha. I'm alpha. And you just gotta tell him, but like every now and then he thinks he is. Like we'll go on walks, he's dragging me around and I'm like, no, I'm alpha. Like you're coming over here. But besides that, I mean, he's a good dog. He just got his first puppuccino today.
Oh, he's
at
cracked
Starbucks.
out.
Yeah, he loved that. But yeah, I'm gonna go see him later.
So what made you want to get a dog or like go in with Sarah on a dog?
Well, I didn't. I didn't want a dog. I said for the past 2-3 months now that I don't want a dog. It's a lot of responsibility, and I had a lot on my plate already. I'm working a full-time job, full-time student.
That's what I was asking. I was like, you have the time?
Yeah, I don't have time for a dog. And she kept saying that she did, and I kept saying, no, you don't. But I wasn't going to, make a thing about it.
Right. And
after a couple months of me saying no, it seemed like she was really going to be upset if I didn't get on board. She was probably going to do it anyways.
Sure, like, might as well.
Yeah, I got on board. Can't beat them, join them. And so then I was like, all right, well, if we're at least, she was going to get a dachshund, which is like, whatever. But like,
They're cute dogs.
yeah, all right. I was like, all right, if we're going to get a dog, let me look at some dogs. Yeah. And then she brought up a Shiba Inu and we found some. But yeah.
You had to go to what, North Carolina?
Yeah, we drove to a breeder up there. I'm not
Don't
proud.
buy a
I
dog.
know, I'm not proud. But yeah. So we went to a breeder.
I don't care if people necessarily go to a breeder. As long as you do your research and you go to there's some breeders that aren't like legit, like they're just a puppy mill.
We don't know for sure.
but I think getting the kind of dog that you want is fine. I don't necessarily want. It's gonna sound fucked up, but like I don't want to go to and get like a shelter dog, and this dog, there are some dogs that are just beyond repair. Like I don't want to get a dog and there's some unknown trigger and it's just like it.
I know.
Goes off. I'm like, oh fuck. Like,
I know, and that's
what I'm terrified of.
All dogs can be trained. All dogs.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. And dogs have come from the lowest of lows and have made their way up.
Right.
And I totally support shelters.
I encourage it.
Yeah.
I totally support shelters. I support adopting.
Yeah. No, I support adopting way over breeders, but it's money. Breeders, you can't find a Shiba Inu at a shelter.
No, it's very hard.
So if you want a Shiba Inu, you're not gonna find it there.
I've thought about getting a dog, and right now I just don't have the money for it, just because my living scenario. So maybe next year, the year after.
Either way, I wouldn't recommend doing it until you have like a backyard.
Yeah, I don't want my dog in an apartment.
Yeah,
it'd be cruel for me at least.
Right.
Like I just don't.
He's small. He's like 8 pounds. So
right.
like I don't feel bad about having him in an apartment or anything. Like we still, he goes outside.
It'd be different though, like if it was your house versus Sarah's apartment. I feel like for at least Sarah's apartment, it's like
it's about this size.
Right. It's a decent amount of room. Like whereas like with your house, it's pretty cramped. Like at least on the first floor.
Yeah. No, yeah. There wouldn't be much for him at my place. Right. And I kept saying that. I'm not definitely.
And he's also like right. If he gets outside, it's on the road.
Yeah, at my house. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
at least with hers, it's like there's.
Yeah, there's a dog park there.
Yeah.
They have all kinds of areas to walk him around. They have a dog like bath shower area.
They have one here too.
Yeah, they got all kinds of stuff.
They call it a dog spa, but it's literally just it's a metal tub in a closet on the fourth floor.
They have a metal tub too, but it's like outside.
Same shit.
Yeah. But yeah.
Enjoying it so far though? You haven't lost sleep or been woken up at 5 a.m.?
The first few nights I couldn't sleep much. Wow. I was terrified because I was just like, he was just too good. It was like kind of scary. It was like the first night we stopped back at her parents' house on the way home because it was just easier than coming all the way back downtown. And we stopped there and then he just went into his crate on his own. First night ever having this crate. Never been in this crate ever. First night, he just was like, yeah, sure. Goes right into his crate, lays down, doors open and everything. I left the door open, and me and her both like laying at the end of the bed, like looking at him, like, yeah, what are you planning, like, you know?
As soon as you fall asleep, I'm gonna shit everywhere.
Exactly. So yeah, we were keeping an eye out, but I was awake that entire first couple nights, just like every noise he made, I was like, it's like a newborn.
Dude, I remember when we got my dog that I had from like childhood to like early college, mid college, and the first night he slept in my room, and I woke up. I had to go to the bathroom, and the dog was crying, so I brought him with me, and he pissed like on the floor in the bathroom. And I was like 10 years old. I was like, all right, fair.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I should have relieved you first.
Yeah,
before
it's
me.
not their fault. You know, I get it. Like, dogs got to pee.
Yeah.
And if they're not outside, whatever.
Yeah.
I get it. And
100%.
they'll learn eventually, but, you know, they're puppies.
How long? So, how long are you expecting it to be like a training period for the dog? I know everyone like is like, give the dog a year, give it 2 years. Like my lab, or my family's lab, I should say, it was like 3 years before she was like fully settled in, or like 2.5 years. She's like fully settled in, out of the puppy energy phase, like able to really, you know, handle commands and like wait. Like how long is a Shiba Inu's?
Probably long. I don't know. He is very independent, and it's like he's good. He listens now. This morning he learned, you know, so at this point we've had him for a week and a half, and he knows his name. He comes to his name. He can sit. He can lay down. He knows paw.
I feel like you had him longer, a week and a half.
I know, feels longer. And he'll just go in his crate on his own, lay down, you know, chews on his bone. He's very calm. He barks at the mirror sometimes. He still doesn't quite get that.
I'll figure it out.
But besides that, like, he's not like a bad dog. He's pretty easy. He still pees in the house sometimes here and there, but for the most part, he's been pretty good about going outside. But yeah. So
yeah, man.
Hopefully he'll be
Nick's
trained
a
up in
dog
like
dad.
a year. I know. I feel like a dad. It's like a newborn baby.
Poppy.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna wait until I either. I'm not trying to stay here. Obviously, I've talked about that. But if I do stay here, I'm gonna get a house next. I don't want an apartment anymore, and then I'll maybe consider a dog. Or obviously, when I go to Austin, I feel like Austin's a much more dog-friendly environment than here.
Yeah. When are you trying to move to Austin?
End of this lease, so end of August. That would be the ideal time frame. I just don't. Literally, the only thing that's really holding me back is the gym, and you know, I'm close to my family. That's really it. I mean, obviously, if my job's like, you can't go, I'm like, well, fuck, I'm staying here. But yeah, it's really that. And then I have a caveat. It's like, if I become like a legit DJ, which, like, you know, whatever, pipe dreams, if that happens, I'm gonna stay. Like, at least milk that as long as I can, like, use my connections and try and get that off the ground before I would leave and go somewhere else and have to start fresh.
Get some experience and stuff. But you know, there's probably more opportunities to DJ in Austin than there is going to be here.
100%. But I have like good connections here, whereas like Austin, I'd be ground zero. I'd have to make all the connections, find out, you know, like DM. I don't even know what I would do, like, to get off the ground there. I'd have to. I mean, I know a small portion of people. Yeah, I just like, what's up, guys?
Stand in front of the bar.
Here's my controller. Boom. Here's my Instagram. Like, no. That would be the only thing that would actually keep me here. And then the hardest thing letting go of would be obviously like friends and family and stuff like that. But would be the gym.
Yeah.
And like being out of the gym for the past 2 weeks, I've been working out like weight wise, but I haven't been like boxing at all or sparring, and I'm going crazy, man. Like I want to kick shit so bad.
Yeah. Well, we can go hit pads after this.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's crazy when I wasn't lifting last year, and I would like have spaces of time where I wasn't going to Muay Thai, bro. I was an angry Cuban boy. I was like,
you need to let it out sometimes. Yeah, it's
like,
it's just good for you mentally just to get out there, and even any exercise. But
yeah, period. But there's something about, for at least for me, I don't know if it's the case with everyone. Once they get like into it, like letting it go and like getting out of the gist, you get like just more pent up, and you get like the itch to do it more. I'm like, I just want to kick something. Like, just, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I thought it was Francis Ngannou said, I like to kick shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's like my favorite quote.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Francis, man, poor guy.
Bro, I want to see him. I thought about it last night. I want to see him leave.
You want to see him leave the UFC?
Yes, I want to see him go fight Tyson Fury, go fight Deontay Wilder, make $100 million and retire, because that man has so much integrity.
He's 35.
Yeah, he's also kind of old. I mean, I don't see anybody beating him personally. Like
John Jones.
I think John Jones is the only one who could, but I still don't know if that would happen.
I think Tyson Fury kicks his ass.
No shit. Tyson Fury would fold in like a lawn chair.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah. But I get it.
I don't know if he would do better than Deontay. Probably would not do better than Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder's insane.
Nah, Tyson's kick his ass.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
He's just too fast. He's too quick, and
he's also not Tyson is a boxer. Francis is not a boxer.
But I will say though, I can almost guarantee that, Deontay wasn't hitting as hard as Francis.
Ooh, I don't know.
And that's bold, but bro, Francis can hit.
Yes.
Like, all right, they say like
he launches people off the ground when he hits.
What was the quote that was like, getting hit by Francis is like getting a Ford Escort? Yeah, well, I mean, I guess John Jones would hit you with the Ford Escort, so that's better. But Jesus. Yeah, but Tyson's gonna kick his ass if they were to fight. But I think John wins in UFC. I think all right. This is what I see happening.
John is no doubt the better mixed martial artist. I just think that weight. I just think Francis has that Yoel Romero effect of like the dude's just kind of bulletproof.
Yoel lost a lot.
Yoel lost a lot, but he's never been like beaten. You know what I mean? Like he's never been like. There's only one time I think he's been pretty much beaten, and that was in the first fight with Rob Whitaker. Yeah. It was like pretty obviously Rob won that, and then second fight I had Yoel, and then he fought Costa. I had Yoel, and then the third fight that he lost in a row, or fourth fight was Izzy, and even that wasn't like obviously he lost. It was just kind of like a weird stalemate. So I'm like, at least with Francis has, what is it now, like a 95% finish rate? It was 100 before the Cyril fight.
Yeah.
Fucking insane.
Yeah. But, except for that's probably gonna be lower since he lost.
I mean, he only has like 20 fights?
I think it's less than that.
Yeah.
Either way, I don't know.
Just that over MKO, man. It's just on highlight.
I know. I just think I just feel bad for the guy. Like I don't know. I was listening to the Helwani podcast and just like hearing about all the stuff they went through. Like it is like I had no idea. Like I was like watching, Embedded. I was very in tune. And like none of this comes up. Obviously, it's the UFC. It's
professionalism.
Yeah, they don't want,
Whatever happened with him like walking by Cyril Gane like in the hallway? Did they ever talk about that?
Yeah, it's because
was that staged? Because it felt staged to me.
I don't know. It probably
was weird.
It probably was. I don't know. It definitely felt staged. I just know like, I've heard like the Fernan Lopez interview with Ariel this morning, and like he's a good guy, and like he just talks about the fact that
What's that do with the dreads?
The dude, that trained Cyril.
Yeah.
And Francis. And he basically just gave respect to Francis. He was like, he did what he needed to do to win. And he's like, and he gave it to Eric Nixick too. He was like, Cyril was not going to lose in a boxing match, and he wasn't.
I don't think so either. I was watching the highlights with my dad because I was home with my wisdoms out, and he's like, oh, because my dad watched the what was it? UFC 249 card or whatever was like that first card in the pandemic with Dominic Cruz and Henry Cejudo, and Francis knocked the fucking lights off of Jairzinho Rozenstruik. My dad's like, nobody's beating that guy.
No.
He's like, he's gonna knock Cyril Gane out. I was like, I don't know if he'll knock him out, but I definitely see him beating him.
I wasn't sure. Like I was all over the place. Like I love Francis, but there's just something about his mentality lately. Yeah. That like I understand now, like that I'm hearing about stuff. But
after I heard his story on the Rogan podcast,
oh yeah, that was the
nobody's beating him.
Oh my god, he's been through more stuff than like
the man crossed the desert.
Yeah.
And to just do MMA, and I'm like,
more than that. Wait, let's go back. Not only did he cross the desert, he made it to the desert, and then they caught his ass and brought him back to the southern point of Africa
7 times,
where he worked again to get a motorcycle so he could drive up again.
Could you imagine Francis on a bike? Just like,
yeah.
What is he, 6'6", like 250 pounds?
More than that. I think he's like 280.
Oh my Lord! Imagine taking one of his hits.
I don't want to.
Dude, there's a
they said it was
the Ford Escort. It's just like
the one that really like resonated with me though is they said if you were to take a sledgehammer full swing over your head, that is what it's like to get hit by Francis Ngannou. And it's like that would wash my head like a watermelon. Like I don't even want to know.
Dude, oh my God. I don't even want to think about that.
But what I respect him. I respect him, man, because stuff like when you hear that he, the morning of his fight, Saturday morning against the biggest fight of his life, against a coach who knows all of his tricks, while he has an MCL tear, an ACL tear, all these other knee injuries. The morning of his fight, Saturday morning, the UFC sends him an email. They're suing him.
Suing you.
Like,
what?
And then his manager gets a really racist text saying all this stuff.
Yeah,
like,
what was that about? I heard you told me that. I was like, what?
I don't know who did it, and they don't know who did it. And they said that it was a 702 number or whatever, which is Vegas. So they know it's from Vegas. They don't know who sent it, but just like really, really disgusting text. And it was just like the amount of stuff he was going through, and then was like, went to a doctor when he landed in Vegas, went immediately to a doctor, skipped the UFC shuttle, went to a doctor on his own, and the doctor said, I highly recommend you do not take this fight. Get out of this fight now, or you're going to have irreparable damage permanently. And he was like, comes out of it, and his manager's like, so we good? And he's like, yeah.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. So,
I mean, dude, if you're Francis, though, you gotta show up for that fight. Like he said, he's like, I wasn't gonna let this stop me.
I mean, good for him. But imagine he loses that fight.
Oh,
he's got
man.
no more bargaining chips for this contract dispute.
I would be depressed if he lost, honestly. Like, I like Cyril a lot, and I gave him good odds. But I just, the disrespect that Francis has had, I'm pulling for this guy every time I see him.
Yeah, and he's been through more stuff than just a 5-minute fight. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like he can deal with this. He's been back and forth from like 18 different countries
through the fucking ocean. And
like 15
France,
times.
Morocco.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that like all that stuff combined, like this contract dispute's nothing.
Yeah.
And for him to walk away, like they're saying that he's walking away from like $7 million, like off of getting
$7 million isn't enough for him, in my opinion.
Probably not. Either way, he's saying that like he would rather have more freedom on his contract, and that unless they make it right, he's not going to do it. And good for him. But I mean,
man of integrity. Like
when you've been through stuff like he's been, like this, $7 million isn't really a big deal to him. $600,000 is already something to be proud of.
Well, that's his base payout. He's probably getting pay-per-view points.
Oh yeah, more than that. And that was just the last fight. You know, he's definitely close to eight figures.
When I first heard that he was like having contract disputes, I'm like, is he broke? Like, is he blowing his money? I was like, that doesn't fit the kind of guy he is. He doesn't care about cars or luxury or something.
The UFC is just not treating him well.
The UFC treats most fighters pretty not okay. I don't think they treat their fighters poorly. I just think they pay them poorly. Right.
So I heard about a scenario that could change things, and it is pretty interesting to think about the fact that maybe if the three champions, Francis, Kamaru, and Izzy, were to come to the UFC and say, like, we're leaving, or we're not going to fight, or something, we're striking, something like that.
I don't think they would.
Yeah, but like,
it takes balls.
Can you imagine if all? Yeah, but if anyone has it,
I think Izzy would be the first one to say something. Honestly,
Francis is already saying it.
But I mean, like, besides Francis, Izzy would be the first one. But
if Francis went to Izzy and said, we need to do this, I feel like they do it.
Yeah, I think. But the thing is, Kamaru is closer to Francis than Izzy is to Francis. I think.
Yeah, I agree. So Kamaru corners him.
Maybe it'd be Kamaru, but they were saying Ali Abdelaziz was saying that Kamaru for enough money would fight Izzy. I'm like, some friend you are. I'm like, I understand that it's millions.
That would be murder. Actually, I don't even. No, that'd be bad. Dude, that'd be bad. I don't know though.
Bro, Izzy would light him up. I
think he'd light him up, but like, I think
light him up.
One hit from Francis is enough. Francis. I'm saying if Francis had one hook.
Oh, you're saying Francis and Izzy fight? I'm saying.
Oh, Francis Kamaru.
No. I'm saying Izzy Kamaru.
Oh, Izzy Kamaru.
Izzy Francis would be like the worst big brother battle I've ever.
Yeah.
Bro.
Izzy Kamaru is a different story, but
you ever see the video of the gorilla?
I don't think Izzy would light him up. I think that's bold. I think Kamaru would out wrestle him.
I will say one. We'll go back to that real quick. You ever see the video of the gorilla throwing the raccoon across the cage in the zoo? That's what Francis versus Izzy would be.
I believe it.
Go whoosh.
Oh, exactly what I'm saying. That's what I thought you said. I was like, no shot.
No fucking way.
Yeah, he would just sit on him.
Oh my lord. Yeah, no. I think Kamaru does not stand a good chance against Izzy personally. I think Izzy's got
I don't know about that.
Ooh.
I think Izzy's would outstrike him, and he'd use a lot of kicks, obviously. But
Listen, he did
if
struggle with
Kamaru
Jan,
gets him on the ground,
but the thing is, Izzy, in his own weight class at 85,
yeah,
pretty stellar takedown defense and ground game.
yeah, it depends
He's
on where they're
kind of
fighting.
like, not to tote my own bag as a fan, but Jorge's got very slept on takedown defense and ground game. I think Izzy and
How did
Jorge.
this get to Jorge?
I'm just saying, but like those two, like I think a lot of people when they look at strikers, they discount their takedown game because they're like, he'll just get wrestled because he stands up all the time. But I'm like, you look at statistically like how well they've done on the ground, save for the Jan Blachowicz fight, because that's Jan had like a 30, 40 pound advantage. So I'm like, okay, yeah, he should have obviously bulked up a little bit and like had some wrestling in his back pocket, but I think the weight difference is too much. Kamaru and him, I think, walk around the same weight, probably around 200 pounds, and Izzy in his own weight class has really good ground game. Like he's not taking people down, but he's slick with it. Like in the Kelvin fight, he threw up a couple triangles, I think an armbar, and good defense with Marvin Vettori. He reversed him a couple times. Marvin's a fucking tank. And then Yoel. I mean, I don't think Yoel tried to take him down all that much, but I think he stuffed one or two. I'm like, the stuff of Yoel Romero takedown's impressive.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think I'd give Izzy more than 70% chance to win in a Kamaru fight. I don't think Kamaru has much to
that
offer.
sounds too much to me. I feel like it'd be more like 50-50 to be honest. I don't know.
Unless it goes.
Kamaru's striking's underrated, and you know that now.
I don't think it's underrated.
You just said Izzy would light him up.
Izzy would light him because Izzy has over 100 striking matches, like striking fights.
No,
and
I'm
like,
aware, but
I just don't think Kamaru has anything to offer in the regard of striking with Izzy. It would just be too hard. He's got way too much going on.
It doesn't mean he's got to strike. I don't know. I'm just saying.
But yeah,
he's
but
a big man.
fights start on the feet, man, and like to get Izzy to the ground is not easy, as we've seen, unless you're Jan.
I don't know.
Kamaru
I don't think this fight's ever gonna happen, anyways.
No, I don't think so either.
But what is gonna happen?
Oh boy.
Is Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira, May 7th, confirmed. Also, Yuri Prochazka is fighting Glover.
Bro, Yuri Prochazka is a fucking problem, and I think that dude's gonna light up Glover. I like Glover a lot, but I think Yuri's gonna run through him.
I do too.
Dude, that guy scares me. Bro, you see the video of him just like screaming in the forest?
No, I believe
he's like working out, and he just goes,
freak in nature.
like in the middle of the. I'm like, what the fuck?
He's
dude?
a freak.
Dude, oh my lord, I want to see that fight.
That's a good fight coming up, and then we got Kobe Jorge.
I don't even want to talk about that fight because I'm so stressed about it. Because I don't know how it goes. I don't know. Listen, I think Jorge wins that fight personally. I don't think.
I don't even know anymore.
I think Colby is one of the greatest fighters. However, the X's and O's for me. Obviously, Colby's got, I think, a better overall game. And I think he's got the pace. He's got the cardio advantage. And he put the pace on Kamaru. He's got two of the best fights with Kamaru, who's the pound for pound in the world. Styles make fights, though. And Colby is a sloppier striker. And Jorge...
Then Jorge?
Yeah. But in general, he's sloppier than Kamaru. He's sloppier than Jorge. He uses pressure and pace. However, he has a really...
You say Kamaru is a sloppier striker than Jorge?
No. Colby's a sloppier striker than both of them.
Gotcha.
He throws up a lot, like a lot of combinations, but they don't really do much. He's not pillow hands. He's not Max Holloway. But he's like Max Holloway in the sense that like he throws up a lot of combinations. It's very overwhelming. His pace is nuts. But if I'm Jorge... Colby's got a really lazy jab. He just kind of like throws it out there. Yeah. And historically, Jorge's got really good success with southpaws. See Darren Till.
Right.
See Nate Diaz. He has a good fight with Benson Henderson, who's a southpaw, which I don't know if he won that fight, but it's very close, very competitive. And he warded off Damian Maia for 3.
I just think Kobe's pace is too much for Jorge to handle.
Nuts. But I don't know if the pace is the issue in that fight because we've seen Jorge on 6 days' notice deal with Kamaru's loss. Yes, but
he didn't handle it. He lost. He got knocked the fuck out. The second fight.
The first fight, 5 rounds of him basically keeping Kamaru off the ground. It's basically clinch work like the whole fight. I don't think Colby takes him down, and if he does, keeps him down. As we saw in the second fight in the first round, Jorge got up pretty quick. Good elbows from the ground before he got knocked out. But I think that fight is a lot closer than people are right, because I see a lot of
There's
slander.
a lot of slander. There is a lot of slander.
lot of
I will
slander.
say it will be. I do believe it will be closer. But
like, the
Child, you hear what Chael said?
Yeah, fuck
Yeah,
him.
Chael's like, what did he say? He was like, this is gonna be the end of.
Career, and I'm like, no.
Oh, shout out to Jorge for signing the end of his career.
I'm like, bro, can you get Colby's
Did you know-
nuts out of your mouth?
Do you know that Chael's announcing for Eagle FC now?
Yeah, I saw that.
What?
Bro, Khabib is just scooping everybody up.
Good for him.
He's got okay.
They fought in Miami. We should have gone. You were there for it.
Was I there that weekend?
It was like literally just happened, so I don't know.
I think it was Friday night. Yeah, I was there. I landed like at like 9 p.m.
PFL is happening in Orlando in mid-March.
But like who?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I know.
What
Kayla
I do know
Harrison
is
and Anthony Pettis and not Cautious Clay. What the fuck is his name? Clay. He beat Pettis. I forget his name.
I don't know. I don't know any PFL fighters anymore, to be honest. But what I do know is K-Flow is going to be commentating.
Kenny Florian?
Yeah, he's their announcer. Yeah.
Interesting. I think I'm more interested in Bellator than I am PFL. But I think going back to Eagle FC, what I was gonna say is one of the most lopsided fights I've ever seen get lined up is Kevin Lee Diego Sanchez. It's cool that it's at 165. I wish there was a 165 in the UFC. Who allowed Diego Sanchez to fight Kevin Lee? He's going to die. Kevin Lee's an assassin. He's like,
I know.
some losses, but he's good, man.
I'm trying to remember who was that? He had some choke recently where he secured it by biting his own glove. Did you see that?
Kevin Lee?
Yeah.
I don't.
Like he had him and he like couldn't quite get the lock. And so he
hasn't won in
he
a
like
minute.
bit his glove to hold the choke.
His last win was Gregor Gillespie with the right hand
Just
to
before
head
that,
kick.
I think. I don't remember who it was, but it was impressive.
He pissed me off though. He's always been a head case, but he really made me mad with the Charles Oliveira fight because Charles Oliveira had him in a guillotine and he tapped and then he pretended to not tap.
Oh yeah.
I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but
man?
I feel for the guy though. I mean,
I do too.
He got dropped and
Bro.
I don't think he deserved to get dropped, but he had some tough losses. But
he was like 2 and
what is he like 25, 24?
No. He's older than that. He's like 28, 29, I think.
I thought he was younger.
No, but I think. Let me look this up. I think that he was like 2 and 6 out of his last 8 fights. I'm like, that's kind of rough. And it was like a 3 or 4 fight skid. I was like, I kind of understand why he got cut. Now, do I feel bad? Kind of. I hate seeing fighters get cut. However, I understand why he was cut because he caused issues for the UFC. Was very vocal about his disdain for them, all that sort of stuff.
Which is fine.
Ideological. He's 29 going on 30, so he's a little older.
I don't know. Everyone has problems with the UFC, and they have the right to be, especially if you're a fighter. Because
let me see what his
what are you gonna do?
So out of his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you good?
But yeah,
I think. Hold on. Right. I think Kevin Lee is. Let me see real quick. He is. So since his fight with Tony Ferguson, he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 7 fights. He's 2 and 5. I understand why he was cut because he did have a good KO head kick over Gregor Gillespie, but he had 2 losses before that. He beat Edson Barboza, but almost lost that fight. He lost to Tony Ferguson for the interim.
I think if you beat Edson Barboza, you deserve a spot in the UFC.
Yes, however, he did lose 2 in a row after that. Beat Gregor Gillespie, probably his best win in my opinion. Then lost to Charles Oliveira with that controversial tap.
Who's now a champion.
And he missed weight, keep that in mind. And then he lost to Daniel Rodriguez, changed his weight again because he missed weight prior, and then he tested positive for Adderall. Now, Adderall obviously is not a big deal, but it's still, he violated USADA, and obviously if you're on a short leash with the UFC, you probably don't want to do that. So I get why.
Adderall's against USADA?
It wasn't disclosed that he was on it.
Oh.
He was prescribed it but didn't disclose it. I know, it's fucking dumb. But he's missed weight twice in his career, and then he was on, kind of a skid, 2-fight skid again. So, I get why he was cut. Do I think he should have been cut? No. But I get why he was cut.
Yeah, I get it.
I would have liked to see him fight one more time. I wanted to see him fight Sean Brady. That dude is a problem.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. There's just so much going on in that class that it's just like...
170?
Yeah.
Dude, I Hamzat Chimaev.
Woo! I'm on
That
the
man,
train.
I'm also
I'm
on the train.
on the train.
However, he's not beating Gilbert Burns. I think that's a strong push.
I think it's going to be such a good fight. I think it's going to go to decision. Ah,
No, that's a finish.
it's got to be, but I
That's a
mean,
finish.
it's just so close. If anyone, all right, I don't see Gilbert finishing Hamzat. But
I wasn't going to mention that, but I was going to say, yeah, for sure, I think I do. If he wins, it's by submission.
Hamzat.
No.
Gilbert.
Yeah.
I don't see Gilbert finishing Hamzat.
Bro, Gilbert is a multiple-time
I know
BJJ world
that.
champion.
I know that.
Come on.
Have you seen Hamzat's wrestling lately?
Of course I've seen his wrestling. It's fucking madness. But, like,
Bro,
I don't think...
He is so strong.
Yeah, Jack Hermanson was talking about it. He's like, listen, it
Yeah,
wasn't a
Jack
grappling
Hermanson.
match. He said it wasn't a grappling match. It was freestyle wrestling, and Hamzat is a freestyle wrestler, and Jack is a grappler, but still strong as fuck.
Bro, what's the dude? Wow, what's that guy's name? The Chinese dude that he
The
picked
leech.
up? Yeah, he's like picked him up.
Dana! Boom!
Dana, stop looking at your phone. Hey, this guy.
Like, suplex.
How the hell do you do that to a UFC athlete? Like, I don't understand.
He's good, man. But I don't think he's had enough top-tier test yet.
No, he hasn't.
I think if he fights a top 10 or top 5 guy...
Well, he's fighting
gonna be
Gilbert. I
different.
think it's not confirmed,
The
but
fuck,
it's
the
going to
fact
happen.
that Gilbert's like, fuck it, let's go. I'm like...
No, because he knows. This guy is the real deal.
I think so. I believe so.
I don't think he's ranked properly.
I would like to see Hamza just fight one more person, build a hype a little bit more.
Yeah,
and then he's one fight away from...
He's just so hungry.
Yes, but I think I just don't like seeing UFC stars get pushed. Like,
he's just so well rounded though. Like, I know.
Yeah.
I totally agree. He shouldn't get pushed, and his career, if he loses to Gilbert Burns, like that's a big stop.
dent.
Big
stop. Dent, because they're gonna be like, oh, he wasn't ready, and then we're gonna have to watch him climb up again
with mental, problems because he just lost and blah blah blah, whatever. But I don't think he loses that fight. I don't know. I really don't. Like,
it's tough.
I mean, Gilbert Burns is a strong man.
Yes, he is.
So is Hamzat.
Yes, he is.
I just think Hamzat's too hungry.
Kill everybody, eat everybody. That interview is great, but I don't know, bro.
I don't know.
That card was really good.
And this weekend we got Islam Makhachev's fighting Dariush.
That's this weekend?
Saturday.
Bro, I hope Dariush wins that fight. I love Dariush.
He's got to. But
you think he doesn't win or does win?
No, I think he wins. But I
do too. Low
I like
and
Makhachev too,
people are on the Islam train because he's Khabib 2.0. I'm like, he's not Khabib 2.0, first of all. Khabib is different. But the problem with those Dagestani guys, at least with my issue with Khabib, is that his first 11 opponents in MMA had losing records.
Whatever.
Right. At least in the UFC, he fucking dominated.
If you have a
people.
losing record in the UFC, you're in the UFC, first of all.
No, but like before he got to the UFC, his first 11 opponents in MMA had losing records. So it was pretty cherry picked before he got to the UFC, and I get it. That's what boxing does with their opponents. They kind of cherry pick.
Sugar Sean's doing.
Sugar Sean, man,
and it's working for him.
Speaking of Sugar Sean, we'll get back to Islam real quick. I really want to see the Cheeto
I'm in.
Sugar Sean fight. Not because I think Sean beats him. I like Sean.
I think Cheeto still wins.
Bro, yes. I like Cheeto a lot, and that dude scares me. The way he knocked out Frankie Edgar,
that was impressive.
I was like, oh, no, you did not do Frankie Edgar like that.
That was impressive.
God damn, dude. He did what he fucking knocked out Frankie Edgar after Frankie Edgar got knocked out by Corey Sandhagen with the flying knee. I was like, Frankie, no! Like, no!
Yeah, he had a rough little patch there.
He might be on the retirement fight
he's on the way, I
think he's retiring, like, next. After this next fight, I think he's done, whether he wins or loses.
I just hate to see him go out like that, but
I
don't know. I don't see him winning much more.
Ooh. Just got a little thing from Will. It says, Dustin Poirier will shave his head if they announce his fight. Just, I guess, because of he used to...
Who would you rather see? Dustin Chandler or Dustin Gaethje?
Dustin Chandler, because we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Bro, if only Michael Chandler decided to not entertain for the last 90 seconds of the third round, he would have had that fight. Because he was winning on control time. He
Yeah.
was winning
And now,
on striking. He was winning. He had more big moments in round 3. Hurt him more. After almost getting finished in the second round, he had the suplex. Obviously, Justin escaped, but he was getting more body shots, backing Justin up, and then he's just like, "Fuck it." I'm like, well, "What are you doing?" Like, I understand that you want to like make a show, and like it was dope in the moment, but I'm like,
I don't
bro,
know.
you
I don't
could
even
have
think.
beat Justin Gaethje.
I don't know what he was thinking, but
Uh,
he just thinks he's invincible, and like
he pretty much is.
I guess.
You can survive Justin Gaethje. You can pretty much survive any of them.
It was impressive, but I don't know. It just that didn't even. I wasn't even like a competitive fight to me. Like I understand, like it
The
started.
first round, Justin
started
almost got
off,
knocked out.
It started off competitive, and then when Mike started walking at him,
That was the end of the third round.
hands at his hips,
I didn't get it.
I was like, dude, do you want to win?
I
You
know.
don't.
We were watching it together. I was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
Like, I
put
was
your hands up. Like I don't understand. Like I don't know.
He had so many cool moments though, like the flying knee into the 1-2, into the 2 where he almost finished him. He almost took out Justin's leg, and like that fight was easily fight of the year for me. But the coolest moment, I think,
Volk Ortega.
that was a higher skilled fight.
That was the best fight I've seen in a long time.
I think Chandler Gaethje takes it just because it was like at any moment either one of them was going out. Whereas
Same with Oliveira Chandler.
no, Volk Ortega was a great fight. And I don't know how Volkanovski survived both the triangle and the guillotine, which was such an interesting guillotine. Like the
it was
under.
Here,
I don't know how. I feel like Ortega let off a little too early, but I say
I don't know
that
about
with
too
no,
early.
with
Yeah,
no,
I don't know
with no
about too
jiu-jitsu
early.
belts or anything.
But
I think Justin Chandler's a better fight entertainment wise because I'm like, holy shit, the entire
because
time.
they'll beat the hell out of each other.
Bro, the Superman off the cage was dope. The flying knee, and the leg kicks were insane. Chandler just being like, "Come on!" Like I'm like, "Holy shit!" But then I'm like, "Bro, I understand you're entertaining."
Yeah,
just
but then
why?
Chandler's like, I need to win. Let me fight Tony Ferguson.
Well, because here's the thing though, he called out Tony.
Yeah, because he knows he'd win.
No. He called
Anyone
out Tony.
could beat Tony Ferguson right now.
No. Before he even entered the UFC, he called out Tony. Before Tony fought Charles, before Tony fought Dariush, Chandler said, "Tony, let's do it." And Tony said no, went silent. And then Tony called him out. He's like, "Let's do it on 3 weeks' notice." And Chandler's like, "I'm not doing a fight on 3 weeks' notice." And then Tony's like, "You're a bitch. You dodged me." And he's like, "Well, I got a title shot. Why would I?" I'm like, he's like, "What? I'm not doing a short notice fight when I have a potential title shot. No." And whatever. Tony's Tony. He's whatever.
He's on the way out.
But Chandler has not taken a single easy fight. He took whoever they gave him. He was the fucking backup fighter for Justin Khabib. Then he took Dan Hooker, which everyone said Dan Hooker's going to knock him out with a knee up the middle. And then he took Charles Oliveira, who was on an 8-fight winning streak. And then, who had just dominated Tony Ferguson himself. And then he fought Justin Gaethje in a close fight. So I'm like, Chandler takes no easy fights. I'm like, Tony Ferguson's not an easy fight necessarily. I think he fucking destroys him. But
that's a first round KO.
I don't want to see Tony get knocked out though. I want to see him get subbed.
I'm sick of seeing Tony. I'm so sick of seeing Tony. Like, what's he, like 4 losses in a row now?
This will be his 4th. Assuming he loses.
Well, yeah.
I don't like to discredit any fighter.
No, I'm assuming.
And I'm a big Chandler fan, but it's very hard to finish Tony.
I'm so over
it. But like,
I'm so over Tony, and obviously it was a long time ago, blah blah blah. But like
Tony Khabib talks.
No, the Tony end. Tough stuff. Like, did you ever watch that season?
I watched parts with him.
Dude, the things he was saying, like, completely changed my entire view on that man. Like,
he's
there is nothing he could do successfully that after seeing that season that I was like, this guy's a horrible person.
12-fight winning streak.
Yeah, that's impressive, and defended a lot.
Yeah, well, he fought for the interim twice. They fucked him over, but the craziest fight to me was the Pettis fight, where Pettis almost beat him, and Tony just starts teeing off on him. And that's where, like, Pettis is, like, licking the air or whatever. It's just bloodbath. There's an image of Tony's, like, 12 opponents, like, all lined up. Like, what happens when you fight Tony Ferguson? What happens when you die? It's, like, all these... Like, the fucking Cowboy fight was brutal. The RDA fight was brutal.
No, yeah, he is definitely tapped.
when he was 12 fights in, I wanted to see that Khabib fight so bad, but now we fucking know what would have happened.
Oh my god, that would have been sanctioned murder.
Dude, it would have been bad for him because Charles dominated him bad. But this is the Makhachev talk. I want to see Makhachev Oliveira. I don't want to see Dariush lose. But I want to see Makhachev Oliveira because we'll finally see Tony Ferguson versus Islam.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
I respect
and don't
it because
say
I'm
Tony.
a Beneil fan.
Are you trying to compare Tony to Charles Oliveira right now?
I'm saying Charles Oliveira is the better version of Tony, and supposedly Islam's the better version of Khabib. So let's just fucking have this fight and let's put it to rest.
Khabib is substantially better, and Charles is substantially better.
I agree, bro. This image, all of Tony's, bro. Like, oh my fucking god, they're just all battered, bruised, bloody.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well. So is Tony.
Yes. Bro, that Justin Gaethje fight was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Bro, after the second round...
There was another Tony fight recently that I was like, end the fight.
When you... I'm sorry. When you, when you think about Tony Ferguson's career, it's probably one of the more, like, sad careers just because he got dicked over so much. And he took the Justin Gaethje fight, like, as a courtesy. He's like... Nope, I'm prepared for this fight. I'm going to take it despite Khabib falling out for the 5th time. Yeah. And then gets his shit pushed in. Like,
yeah. Well,
hard. As an MMA fan, it's hard to swallow that.
Yeah. I'm over Tony, and I think it's time to retire.
Probably. I think Chandler's going to put him into retirement. I think that's his last fight.
If I was Tony, I don't even know if I would take that as my last fight.
Oh, he don't give a fuck. He thinks Chandler's a bitch. So.
Yeah, Tony doesn't because he's tapped.
Because he's tapped.
Tony still thinks he's winning.
Bro,
Tony talks like he's winning.
Listening to his knees and arms pop in the Dariush and Charles fight.
Oh my god, that was so bad. The Dariush.
No, the Charles one where his arms like this. I'm like, I can't watch this. Charles has it stuffed.
I remember that one, but didn't Dariush do that too, though?
Dariush had him in like a leg lock or an ankle lock.
And then knee popped. Oh, man. He's going to have problems for a long time.
He's fucked. I want him to fight Nate Diaz.
I want to see Conor Nate one more time. And I think
that's going to happen. That's going to happen before they both retire,
I think that's going to be Conor's next fight.
A lot of people are saying that. I'd like to see that as the next fight. Because
and I think Conor starts him.
I think Conor beats the show, Nate. Now.
I agree, too.
Because we've seen Conor put on some weight. That man was 190. I mean, maybe USADA needs to take a visit to him, but...
I'm sure they're taking plenty of visits to his house.
I think that Conor... Man, Jorge beat the shit out of him, almost knocked him out. Second fighter to basically do that. I mean, I think the only fighter that officially beat Nate Diaz by stoppage is Josh Thompson. Head kick. Same way Jorge almost stopped him. It was a head kick and then follow-up. Yeah, Josh Thompson's the only one to beat him by stoppage. And then the fucking Leon fight it just got his shit pushed in for 24 and a half minutes, and then... I
thought Leon was going to be on this UK card.
Bro, Leon is one of the dumbest fight. Well, the problem is they're waiting on Kamaru. Kamaru doesn't want to fight for a while, and Leon's getting a title shot next.
Probably.
No, I think Daniel White said that's confirmed.
Oh.
So, we'll get Leon Kamaru too. Kamaru's going to win, and then... What does Kamaru do after that? I don't know. But I think we'll see...
Fight Izzy.
If Jorge beats Colby, I think he fights Conor afterward. I think Conor's going to fight...
How much more fights does Jorge have in his contract?
I think 5.
Holy, I thought he was almost done.
No, Jorge said he wants to fight out his contract, which is impressive. But I don't think he actually will, but I think he wants to. It just depends on how well he does in his next 2 fights.
Yeah.
I think when he re-signed with Kamaru, he signed a 7-fight deal. So the Kamaru 1 fight was 1, Kamaru 2 is 2, Colby will be 3, and then he'd have 4 after that. I definitely know they're gonna do the...
I hope it's Nate.
Bro, he'll fucking bully Nate again. I'm so tired of hearing Nate would have finished him in the 4th or 5th. You know how mad that makes me? I'm like, in no way, they're the same level of like finish rate. Jorge's been finished twice, maybe 3 times in his 50-fight career.
I mean, Jorge wins it, but I mean...
He's not getting finished by Nate Diaz.
I just feel bad for Nate for not getting that fight back.
I do too, but it's a circumstantial thing. Like they offered him the fight after the Kamaru 1 fight. Jorge said, "Let's run it back." I said I would. Let's do it. Nate didn't pick up the phone. According to Dana and Jorge's camp, they said we wanted to do it and we didn't hear anything back from
That
them.
just doesn't sound like Nate though.
Nate said Jorge's a bitch and a sellout for whatever reason. I'm like, all right, word, Nate, you can go get folded by Leon and go about your day right off in the sunset. Fight Connor, lose that fight too, bro. Imagine if Nate beats Connor. Oh my God, Will would be on Suicide Watch.
Yeah, that's not happening,
dude. I can't believe that he beat Connor the first fight. I still think about that. I'm like, what the fuck?
A long time ago.
It's
Connor's come a long way.
Ago. I think Connor bullies him.
Oh yeah, and he's got an aluminum bat for a leg. Yeah. I don't want to get hit by that thing.
Oh my God, is it his left ankle or his left shin?
Left shin.
And he's a southpaw.
Yeah. So you can't leg kick him anymore. You'll break your leg.
Yeah.
You can't get leg kicked. I mean, I guess you can try and go for that off foot, but he does that weird stance.
Dude, just the hype, the energy around Connor in 2016, 2017, 2018, it was just fucking
I hope it comes back.
Bananas. He will.
No, I hope the energy comes back. Like, the UFC is not as exciting without Conor McGregor, in my opinion.
No, it's not. However, I am tired of bad guy Connor because it doesn't work. The whole trilogy with fucking Dustin, it was just hard to for me because I've seen nice Connor and I've seen mean Connor, whatever.
He was a nice Connor with Dustin too.
Right, and I think that fight was a better fight. Obviously,
was that Dustin 2? Yeah, that was Dustin 2.
Yeah, he was respectful. Same with Cowboy. Super respectful. He wasn't talking shit. It was just kind of like, he would be dismissing of people.
That was wild. Like, I remember, like, just seeing those shoulder strikes and just being like, wait.
I watched it with Hunter.
He's doing that?
And I saw Cowboy's nose bleeding. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Like, uh-oh.
That was no joke.
That was no joke, but again.
I never really, like.
Cowboy.
I always, like,
I like Cowboy a lot, but that was, like, his fourth loss in a row, and he's, like, 40 fights in.
Yeah.
Cowboy, one fight that I love watching, not just because it's Jorge, but for a technical breakdown, is Jorge's fight with Cowboy. The way he fucking dismantled him in stance, in the hands, so basically his strategy was use the teep to keep Donald from entering recklessly, and then make Donald reset his stance, step back, reset, and when he would go to reset, come in.
Yeah.
And I was like, brilliant the whole time, brilliant. Yeah. And he knocked him out twice in the same fight, essentially.
Yeah, that's good coaching.
He did what Rob did, or Izzy did to Rob. Knocked him out in the first round.
Which is also in, a week.
Bro.
2 weeks?
How do you see that fight going? I don't know how I see that fight going, personally.
All right, well, obviously I lean Izzy. But I think Rob didn't come into that last fight himself. I think he just wasn't ready for the pressure or something. I don't know what it was, but...
I like Rob, but...
I like Rob. No, I mean, Izzy's just on another level. But...
Yeah, 100%.
I truly
100%.
think Rob is coming to play. I
got Izzy.
I see this going to decision.
I
see this going to decision. I'm going to take Izzy by decision, by unanimous.
I've got Izzy by unanimous. I've got Izzy by TKO in round 4.
Not bad. Also, the Jorge Kobe fight's 5 rounds.
I'm excited for that.
This makes me want to fight. Let's go hit pads.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. It's 5:00. Sun's setting. I think we'll get some good pad rounds. Which park do you want to go to?
Hampton.
Word. All right. This is fun, man.
Yeah.
We did a lot longer than I thought it was going to go. This will probably go up. Let's see. It's Thursday. I'll probably try and get it up tomorrow for the weekend. If not, I'll get it up Saturday. I like to upload on Thursdays. But obviously I just couldn't because Miami and complicated shit. So it'll probably go up Saturday at the latest. And then this will probably be the first episode that I get some TikTok clips going. What I really want to do is chop up some clips from each episode, 2 to 3 good minute-long clips that are enjoyable. Post them on TikTok, on Instagram Reels, and actually to get some growth that way, because it's not gonna grow the way I want it to based on just Instagram and people reposting. It helps, but it needs the explore page exposure. So that'll be the plan. But appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, man.
Long overdue.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we never did it in the old house, considering we lived together.
I know.
But so stay tuned. This will be uploaded in the next day or two. This is Thursday the 3rd, so look around February 4th or 5th, and I will see y'all on the next one. Pizza!